Hello and welcome back. And if you're a Republican, you might be looking at this saying AOC will be the Democratic nominee. And if you're a moderate Democrat, you might be saying the same exact thing. Well, yeah, AOC might be the Democratic nominee against JD Vance in the 2028 election. So let's cover what would happen if AOC is actually the nominee. Because there's a lot of buzz surrounding the Fight Oligarchy tour that she's doing with Bernie Sanders, a failed candidate in multiple primaries. But in general, AOC is picking up some steam. If we look at this, it says that she enjoyed real grassroots support and she has moderated her stances and is taking a more centrist approach. But really, the term AOC not really seems like a name anymore, more so seems like a term. And it describes a democratic socialist. I don't think she'll ever be seen as a moderate. I mean, she's AOC, like AOC. If you say something like, that sounds like something AOC would support. That's like something a democratic socialist would support. AOC can really never reshape her image after all these years of building up the squad. But I think after she saw Bowman and Cori Bush lose their primaries to other members of the squad, she has tried moderating her stances, but really is campaigning with Bernie Sanders going to help you do that? No, it's not. But in general, she's picking up steam among younger Democrats and therefore might still win the primary. So if that happens, would she win the general election? Well, let's watch this prediction to find out. There are 538 electoral votes up for grabs, and Vance already picks up a pretty solid amount of them safely. You saw that I just clicked Texas as a safe state for JD Vance. It wasn't seen as a safe state in any of the past few elections, but I think AOC is really unpopular, and the states of Florida, Texas, and Ohio can all be considered as safe Vance states in this upcoming election prediction. Because look at this. Texas went to Trump by 14, Florida by 13, Ohio by 11 against Harris, who seems far more moderate than AOC does. So if AOC is running, how will Texas, Florida, or Ohio vote for her? Well, I don't think they will, honestly. And Trump will also, Vance will win Maine's 2nd district. I keep saying Trump because Trump ran in the last 3 elections, but it is now Vance's time to run for the presidency. So we have 219 electoral votes already for JD Vance, and that's just safe electoral votes so far. Now for AOC, we have the state of California, we have Hawaii, some could argue Washington as well. We have Vermont, we have Massachusetts, we have Connecticut, we have Rhode Island. Of course, Massachusetts is definitely safe. We have Delaware, we have Maryland, and we have DC. So these are AOC's safe states, as well as Maine's 1st district, safely going to AOC. And you could see states like Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Illinois, even New York, her home state, aren't considered safe states for AOC. That's for a lot of reasons. That's because, first of all, she is a democratic socialist. Democratic socialists are most likely not going to win a general election. In fact, Trump was seen as better on the economy than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is not a democratic socialist, not seen as one by almost everybody. So how will AOC be seen as better on the economy than Kamala Harris, someone who's seen as worse on the economy than Donald Trump? So I don't think anyone will see AOC as better on the economy than Donald Trump, really, especially those who thought Harris was worse on the economy than Donald Trump. And thinking who's better on the economy is usually the question that determines elections. So the question will be, who's better on the economy, Vance or AOC? Almost everyone is going to say Vance. This is a guy that is the vice president, that was the finance chair of the Republican National Committee, currently is, that was senator from Ohio, that has a rags to riches story, versus AOC, a democratic socialist who sponsors a lot of ideals that many people don't agree with. Even outside her district in the state of New York, people don't agree with AOC. So let's get to the states that were considered swing states in the 2024 election, and let's cover those first. States like Nevada, Arizona, states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Georgia, they are all going to JD Vance. So the question, New Hampshire as well. The question is no longer will Vance win this election, it's how much Vance will win by. And if you want to see Vance absolutely win in this election, keep watching. If you want to see what would happen if AOC runs, the extent of what would happen, keep watching this election. Let's see if Vance can, say, beat candidates from, I don't know, let's see if Vance can beat Clinton against Dole, 379 to 159. Let's see if Vance can beat that. So let's continue with the next batch of states. I mean, the swing states, I do think they all will go to JD Vance. They all went to Donald Trump in the 2024 election, and that's against a more popular Democratic candidate. Now, let's say with a less popular candidate, wide stream popularity. Maybe AOC is more popular among Democrats than Kamala Harris currently is, but she cannot win a single Republican vote. I don't see it ever happening. And that's why she will never win this election. Remember, there was the Never Trump movement who voted for Harris, but I don't think any Never Trump, Never Vance people would even vote for AOC. Maybe a few, but those people to begin with most likely weren't Republicans if you're voting for AOC at that point. Those people would likely not vote in general if they hated Vance and AOC that much. So now we have the state of Minnesota. This is a state that went to Harris by 4, but she did have Tim Walz, who was the governor of Minnesota, as her VP nominee. I think AOC will probably do some weird pick. Like, I don't even know, honestly. We probably don't even know the name of the person that AOC would pick. It would probably be someone completely random that gets propped up like a week before the election, honestly. A month before the election. I don't even know. Probably someone completely random. But anyway, Vance wins the state of Minnesota. He also wins the state of Virginia. This is a state that has a Republican governor, Glenn Youngkin. He also wins the state of New Jersey. This is a state that has shifted Republican in the past election pretty significantly from Biden plus 16. Even Clinton won by 14 to Harris plus 6. You can see Trump won some pretty big counties here pretty significantly, even though like cities did vote for Harris. It seems like Trump picked up some steam in the state of New Jersey, and Vance would probably continue that steam, getting New Jersey by somewhat of a decent margin for the state. This is a state that had a Republican governor, Chris Christie, for a while, 8 years. So, yeah, does seem like Republicans would win in the state. Nebraska's second. This is Nebraska. Come on, guys. It is not voting for AOC. It is voting for JD Vance. And now with 5 states remaining, we will get to the state of New York. Even though this is a state that went to Harris by pretty solid margins, 13 points. I think it would go to Vance, actually. I think it would go to Vance pretty narrowly. These are what I consider to be the swing states in this election. New York would go to Vance, and here's why. Here's why I think that way. It's because New York was close in the Kathy Hochul-Lee Zeldin election, and Hochul was the incumbent governor, and she is moderate. She is all these things. She's relatively popular, and still Lee Zeldin put up a decent showing. Now imagine AOC, who is popular in her district. She does have a district in New York. It is her home state. But she's not popular among the rest of the state. I mean, outside New York City, I can't see her picking up too many votes. So Vance does win the state of New York, getting up to 384. I mean, he already beat Bill Clinton's total. It is looking more like a Ronald Reagan election right now. Let's see if he can beat George Bush's total of 426. That is the number to beat. So let's see. Now we have the state of Illinois, which surprisingly went to Harris by only 11 points. It's a state that went to Biden by 17, went to Clinton by 17, really shifted to the right in the last election. You can see almost every county does significantly vote for Trump. It is just really Chicago that makes up most of the state population-wise pretty much. So that's why Trump doesn't win in the state. But Vance, in the state of Illinois, I do think he would actually pick up the state, getting to 403 electoral votes. Really close to that 426 number. Now we have New Mexico. Obviously, it went to Harris by only 6. It is going to JD Vance if these 2 other states did. Probably a pretty decent margin. The state of Colorado, we see that state went to Harris by 11. It also goes to JD Vance. These 2 states aren't like safe Democratic states. Remember, Clinton barely won Colorado. And these were states that did go to Bush back in the day against John Kerry. And also, New Mexico barely went to Gore, but Colorado did go to George Bush. This is actually really interesting, 0.06%. But yeah, those two states can't be counted out for Republicans, especially in this election. Now we have the state of Oregon. This is a state that went to Harris by 14. They had an unpopular Democrat governor who kind of came close. Democrats kind of came close to losing in the recent election in Oregon, the governor election, but Harris did win by 14 points. It would be tough for JD Vance to pick up the state, but honestly, I think he would. I think he'd narrowly get the state of Oregon, getting to 426 electoral votes to AOC's 112. So if you're a Democrat, you really don't want AOC to be the nominee. If you're a Republican, you actually might. You might want to flip this coin. This probably 4-1, 5-1, 9-1 coin that you're going to win the election. Honestly, I think the chance Vance would win is close to 99%. And if AOC is the nominee, you can hold me to that word. But anyway, like and subscribe for more videos. This is pretty fun to make. I want to hit 100K subscribers by some point. That would be pretty fun. Help me reach that goal. And yeah, thank you for watching.